Imagine standing in front of an entire town while wildfires spread closer every hour, and your words can determine whether families will evacuate in time. Well, I know that's a very extreme situation that I just put you in. However, they do exist in the real world all across every nation, which is why I think public speaking is a super, super important component to my environmental science degree. While you think of science as working in labs, writing down statistics, working with numbers, and trying to predict outcomes, public speaking is actually what creates agreements, is what protects jungles, is what gets teams on point so these families can evacuate in time and be safe. So, my first major point is how public speaking can help environmental scientists influence public policy and climate action. So, according to the United Nations Climate Change Conference, the COP28, scientists and climate experts presented research directly to world leaders to influence global climate agreements and environmental policy decisions. Now, this word policy, it kind of reminds you of politics. If you think of politics, that's where public speaking thrives. And politics play a big role in environmental science as well. You think of things like environmental science the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, in our U.S. government, right? Now, those workers that work for the government, they don't go around their jobs not knowing how to publicly speak at conferences and at teams and across the world. No, they have to know this public speaking because, well, without being able to effectively communicate between different languages, these agreements will not be made. And if those agreements aren't made, then the environment will just burn down, literally and figuratively. So public speaking is actually a super important role in these climate agreements. And while I may not say it in the degree that public speaking plays a big role, it really does. And if you watch any career and how jobs kind of work, you know that public speaking plays a huge role, and why I think this class is super important to me and everyone else that takes this class, because really in every career, public speaking is super important. So my second point is how public speaking is critical during environmental emergencies and disaster response. So now this point brings you more to a real world active situation where you have to make quick split decisions and you have to communicate effectively to your team, to civilians, to people in helicopters with water. This is why public speaking and kind of thinking on the fly and not having to go into your notes and think, oh, I have to tell them to this, do that, do that. Why that's super important as well. So this quote here from the Federal Emergency Management Agency of FEMA: effective emergency communication is essential during natural disasters because clear messaging helps communities respond faster and more safely. Safety is number one priority in environmental sustainability because while you're protecting the humans, you also have to protect the planet as best as you can because we only get one planet. So when you are in these natural disaster situations, which we cannot predict, as much as scientists say they can predict stuff is going to happen, no one really knows what goes on underneath and above us because, well, we don't have technology for that, and maybe we will in the future, but as of now, we're going to have to respond quickly, which is why public speaking comes in, because we have to be able to, again, think on the fly and think of real life situations where we're communicating effectively to teams across the world, even if they're sitting at a computer in New York. There could be a situation going on in the Congo where you have to get those messages out split, and you have to tell the teams to go in this area, cover this ground, get the civilians out of there as quick as possible, save as many wildlife as you can. Another reason why communicating across different platforms is super important. And in person, if you have the team manager who is giving out roles to all the firefighters, even in wildfires, you have the captain who has to give out roles. You don't think that he knows anything about public speaking? Of course he does. He's literally the captain of the team. He has to be able to communicate to everyone and cater to everyone. He has to know the ins and outs of every situation, think on the fly, speak on the fly. So that's another reason why effective emergency communication is essential during these natural disasters, because we can't predict them. It's also the reason why I think that public speaking and environmental science could help us save the trees, protect the sea, and create a better future for you and me. Bringing me to my third and final point, which is how modern environmental careers, like the ones I'm trying to go into, depend on public communication through technology and media. So, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or the NOAA, climate communication and public outreach are becoming major priorities in environmental science because scientists must connect with broader audiences online and in person. This brings me back to the international example that I gave you, where you could be on your computer on Long Island and there could be a situation going on in the Congo where you have to be able to communicate effectively online. Now, we're all familiar with Zoom now after the COVID situation. Well, that's not an environmental situation. That is something that happened that was out of our control, sort of like a wildfire, which hopefully no one started it, but it was out of control, or floods that out of our control. We have to be able to adapt and communicate online because there could be a tsunami that happens in Japan, and we have headquarters in Florida, and we have to be able to get our teams there, save as many people. Now that's an international matter that we have to be able to communicate with our broad audience and be able to get messages out as fast as possible because lives are at risk. And that's back to our extreme moment where your words will actually create situations where families have to evacuate as fast as possible. So really the main reason why I went to environmental science, because I wanted to create an impact in the world. So I really want to thank you for this public speaking course and what you did for all of us, Professor, and I will take all this information that you gave us this whole semester up to my career. And I will use science, sustainability to help our planet survive, and I hope that one day bring you back to that major moment that I had with the wildfire spreading and your words matter. Hope that one day that voice is my voice and I save those families. Thank you very much.